Mr. President, Mr. Chaney, Ms. Rice et al. Indeed, America has a rich history of greatness. Indeed, America is still today a devastating military superpower. And because in the absence of a competent or brave Congress or a mobilized citizenry, that level of power lies in your hands. It is you who have misused it to become our country's and our Constitution's most devastating enemy. You have broken our country, and you have broken our hearts. The needless blood on your hands, and therefore on our own, is drowning the freedom, the security, and the dream that America might have been once healed of and awakened by the tragedy of September 11, 2001. But now we are encouraged to self-censor any words that might be perceived as inflammatory if our belief is that this war should stop today. We cower as you point your fingers telling us to support our troops. Well, you and the smarmy pundits in your pocket, those who bathe in the moisture of your soiled and blood-soaked underwear, can take that noise and shove it. Because we will be snowed no more. Now, let's make this crystal clear. We do support our troops in our stand, while you exploit them and their families. The verdict is in. You lied, connived, and exploited your own countrymen, and most of all, our troops. You, Mrs. Bush and Chaney, you, Ms. Rice, are villainously and criminally obscene people. Obscene human beings, incompetent even to fulfill your own self-serving agenda, while tragically neglectful and destructive of ours and our country's. And I've got a question for your daughters, Mr. Bush. They're not children anymore. Do they support your policy in Iraq? If they do, how dare they not be in uniform? While the children of the poor, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, and all other American working men and women are slaughtered, maimed, and flown back into this country under cover of darkness. Now, because I've been on the streets of Baghdad during this occupational war, outside the green zone, without security, and you haven't, I've met children there. I've met children there. In that country of 25 million, these children have now suffered minimally a rainstorm of civilian death around them and among them, totaling the equivalent of 200 September 11s in just 4 years of war. 200 9/11s. 200 9/11s. You want to rattle sabers towards Iran now? Let me tell you something, Iran, because I've been there and you haven't. Iran is a great country. A great country. Does it have haters? You bet. Just like the United States has its haters. Does it have a corrupt regime? You bet. Does it want a nuclear weapon? Maybe. Do we have one? But the people in Iran are great people. And if we give that corrupt leadership, by attacking Iran militarily, the opportunity to unify that great country in hatred against us, will have been giving up one of our most promising future allies in decades. If you really know anything about Iran, you know just what I'm referring to. I'm talking about the majority youth who are the most pro-separation of church and state, forward-thinking, inspired young people I've met anywhere on the planet. Of course, your administration belittles diplomatic potential there, as those options rely on a credibility and geopolitical influence that you've aggressively squandered worldwide. Speaking of squandering, how about the $1.5 billion a day our Iraq-focused military is spending, where 3 weeks of that kind of spending would pay the tab on a visionary levee building project in New Orleans? And relieve the entire continent of Africa from starvation and the spread of disease. Not to mention the continued funds now necessary not only rebuild our education and healthcare systems, but also to give care and aid to the veterans of this war, both American and our Iraqi allies and friends who have lost everything. Now, you say that we've kept the war of terror off our shores by responding to a criminal act of terror through state-sponsored unilateral aggression in a country that took no part in that initial crime. That this war would be fought in Iraq or fought here. They are not our toilet.
That's right.
They are a country of human beings whose lives, once oppressed by Saddam, are now lived in Dante's Inferno. Now, my 15-year-old daughter was working on a comparative essay this week. You can ask Condi what a comparative essay is, as academic exercises fit the limits of her political expertise. My daughter's essay, which understood substance over theory, discusses the strengths of the Nuremberg trial justice beside the alternate strategy of truth and reconciliation in South Africa. And I quote, "When we observe distinctions between one power and another, one justice and another, we consider the divide between retribution and reconciliation, of closure and disclosure." Now, I can't do her essay justice in this forum, but at its core, it asks how, when, and why we compromise toward peace, punish for war, or balance both for something more. This may focus another soft spot in the rhetoric of both sides. We're told not to engage in the politics of attack, to keep away from the negative. Well, Mr. Bush, when speaking of your administration, that would leave us silent and impotent indeed.